One day, the Ottomans decided to be annoying, which is pretty common in the human history to be honest. But they blocked the route from Europe to India, and everyone was mad. Because the spice trade was mad profitable, especially the Portuguese. They were really mad, so they sent expeditions along the coast of Africa so they can find a new route to India. And they found the Kingdom of Congo, and the Portuguese asked them, "Yo, do you want guns for some slaves?" And the leader of Congo said yes, so they established pretty good relations. And after a while, other European countries saw this and wanted to participate, so they made a little settlements along the coast of Africa and shipped slaves to America and exchanged them for goods. In the south of Africa, the Dutch East India Company created a bigger settlement which was used as a checkpoint between the Netherlands and the Dutch East India Company. The settlement grew larger over time, and during the Napoleonic Wars, the British took the settlement over. The Dutch living there decided to move and created two new countries, the Transvaal and the Free Orange State. In the north, the French conquered Algeria, and the Americans decided to ship their slaves back to Africa, and they settled in Liberia, which became a country soon after. In 1869, the Suez Canal was built, which became the best new route to India and China, and the British occupied Egypt, thus owning the Suez Canal. The Europeans realized there was a whole uncolonized continent out there, so they gotta change it. So Germany, Austria-Hungary, the International Association of the Congo, which was Belgium in disguise, Spain, Denmark, United States, France, Italy, UK, Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, Sweden, Norway, and the Ottomans. The land was distributed between the countries based on if you had colonies in Africa then and how powerful you are. And the Portuguese decided, yo guys, we should definitely own the whole thing. We are very powerful. And of course, the answer to that was no. The French and the Germans wanted to connect Africa horizontally, but the British wanted to connect their colonies vertically, and of course they couldn't all decide who would own what. Of course they had to conquer the land first, which was mostly easy, but Italy faced a big resistance from the Empire of Abyssinia, which after the win against the Italians got their recognition as an independent country. And do you remember the Dutch countries I told you about? Yeah, they are now British. At the end, the map looked like this, but South Africa got their independence in 1910, but remained as a British dominion. Then World War I happened, and German colonies got occupied by South Africa, France, and the UK, which finally achieved their goal of connecting Africa vertically. At the end of the war, Egypt revolted, and the UK was forced to recognize Egypt as an independent country, but they remained control of the Suez Canal. Now fascist Italy tries to conquer Abyssinia for the second time, and they won, but the Abyssinians never signed an armistice, so it was only occupation rather than colonization. Then World War II happens, and the Axis lose, so the Italians lost their colonies in Africa. After World War II, the United States started supporting the independence of the African countries and get them into the United Nations. Italy also regains control over Somalia for the next 10 years. African countries began to revolt. Egypt made a lot of anti-colonial policies and started making relations with the Soviets. They also aided the Algerians to revolt against the French, and they may take control over the Suez Canal. In response, the British, the French, and the Israelis start an attack on Egypt, but that was stopped by the United States, which forces them to stop. That event marks the end of the European domination on the continent. The British gave Sudan independence, so the Egyptians don't take control of it. The French also recognized the independence of Morocco and Tunisia. This leads to a butterfly effect, and in the 60s, most of the African nations got their independence. And in 1975, the Spanish finally withdrew from Western Sahara, mostly ending the European colonization in Africa.